Could only smell how it smells here in the studio. Chef Gretchen,
yes.
and it's a lemon poppy bread, great for breakfast, snacks, dinner, anytime.
Yes, and also I thought I like to do them sometimes in a mini loaf pan because you can slice them and kind of do a small plated dessert with it, some fresh food, maybe a sauce with it, and you got a dessert.
I know if that was an individual cake.
Or if you want the challenge, my God.
That's not a challenge, honey. Maybe the whole thing. Okay, so what are some of the ingredients that folks are going to need?
Just some unsalted butter, a little bit of granulated sugar. I have milk, whole milk and vanilla, eggs, poppy seeds, my all-purpose flour, and some leavening, and of course some lemon zest.
Leavening meaning like a baking powder?
Baking powder, baking soda.
Both of them?
My leavening ingredients. I think it's just baking soda maybe. I'd have to double check the recipe.
Whole milk.
Whole milk.
Can you do skim? Does it matter?
You can. You're just losing some of the flavor from the fat. The fat is what's providing you a lot of the flavor. I mean, the butter's helping too, obviously. The eggs have a little bit of fat in them, but you're getting a lot of the flavor from the milk. So, yeah, kind of.
That would be a yes.
You can try to skim, but...
What if you don't have a mixmaster? Because I know they make a world of difference when you're doing it, but if you're doing it by hand...
This would take you forever because this is a creaming process. We're creaming our butter and sugar, and it's about a 3 to 5 minute cream. So unless you got giant muscles,
pipes,
it might be a little challenging for you. If you had a hand mixer, same thing. You know, and those aren't too expensive. You know, just the kind with the beaters you can hold in your hand, not as expensive as maybe a full KitchenAid.
And do you keep the sticks of butter out for a bit?
Always room temperature. Also your milk room temperature. If it's too cold, it'll react with the butter, make the butter seize up and get cold again, you know, so that way you didn't have to even...
See, all these little things that I don't know about have ruined my life and my view of how I could ever make a cake.
Yeah, no, it makes, people always say things when they curdle or break.
Yep.
It's because your milk or butter, something was cold. Your eggs, you know, something refrigerated was too cold, and that way it didn't all come together nicely.
That is your tip of the day for making cakes.
Yes, room temperature.
All right, when we come back, we'll at least get started.
We'll start mixing.
Mixing with the butter.
Yep.
Okay, today in the kitchen we are making lemon poppy seed bread.
Lemon poppy seed bread.
With Chef Gretchen, and you've started combining, mixing the room temperature butter.
My room temperature butter and my sugar. This is the creaming process, so we're going to cream for about 3 to 5 minutes or until it turns light. You'll kind of see that it went from the yellow color of the butter to almost a white color. From all the air we're incorporating, yep. It's about a 3 to 5 minute cream because you really want to get the butter and the sugar whipped up.
And so that's why when you're saying doing it with the hand, it's virtually impossible.
It would be almost impossible.
Would it taste different and would it look different if you didn't have as much air in the bread?
Yes, because the air is also helping to rise. So if you didn't have enough air in there, it might affect the final product.
Okay. All right, so you have that in there.
I have my eggs and sugar here, and I have my milk and this. I'm going to combine this and just kind of whip it up. Because what we're going to do here to incorporate our wet and dries is an alternating flour and liquid method.
What if you dumped it all in at once, which I've done?
You would overwhelm the mixture and probably cause it to break. The reason why you start, a lot of times it's like additions of 3 or 4, starting with your flour, adding your liquid, flour, liquid, going back and forth. It's to not overwhelm the mixture you've created in here. You've created an emulsion, and you don't want to go ahead and overwhelm it, otherwise it'll get that broken look, and people go, oh no, something went wrong.
Well, what about me? But what about me being overwhelmed by having to go back and forth and back and forth?
You won't, because I promise it's so easy. It's not anything that the easiest way to think of it is, if it's even easier, you can put this into a measuring cup, and you want to do 4 additions of flour and 3 additions of liquid. So if it's easier for you to see the numbers as you're kind of putting it in, so you know, you can do that. Once you get used to it, you'll just judge. And
I'm going to just ask you this. I'm going to fess up right off the bat. When I'm making cookies and they say, you know, mix the dry stuff together and do it, I don't. I just throw it all in. Is that ruining stuff for me?
Probably depends on what you're making. Like, you just put all your dries into the bowl. You don't scale them out into a separate bowl. No, it's not going to ruin your mixture.
I'm not overwhelming any of my ingredients?
No. The recipe will specifically say to alternate your dries and wets.
Okay, excellent. I had to throw that in there. When we come back, we're going to start putting this all together. Throw it in the oven, and then take a little try.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, we have been creaming the butter and the sugar.
Creaming away.
And you are about to alternate the eggs.
We're going to start adding. You always start with your dries. When it says to do like the different additions, you always start with a little bit of your dries.
Why? Why just the dries? I don't know why I asked why. I was just curious.
I think it's because you don't want to start with your liquid right away. It could overwhelm it. Too much liquid in the bowl would be too much for the butter to take.
Okay.
So you just want to let this mix in. There's a lot of scraping involved too, and it does take a little bit more time. So you just want to let that incorporate,
and then add about
a third.
Vanilla and eggs.
Yep. And then you just want to add about a third of that. Let it mix.
How much will this make?
I bet you would make over a dozen, like a generous dozen of muffins. Like I said, I made a small pan, but then you could, I made a small loaf, but then, you know, it would probably make over a dozen. So at least you have one to try and then still have a dozen to have for your friends.
Okay. See, that looks like a real mix. You know, and I know we've talked about this before. I just, every time I think of cakes or breads or anything, I go right for the aisle, the bread aisle, the cake aisle.
See, look, this isn't like, it's very patient. We're just working slow. We're just...
You know what I hate? I hate getting out all the equipment. I am so lazy, and I'll admit it. I don't like having to wash it afterward either. I don't like assembling it.
I agree. I don't want to wash either.
This is just not... But you make it look so easy.
See, this is easy, though. This isn't too bad. We're just, you know, just slowly adding, incorporating, letting it come together to form a nice batter.
Okay.
Not too overwhelming yet.
All right, I'm going to spray this, because you just sprayed the pan?
We're just going to spray our muffin pans. Or if you have a muffin liner you want to use, you know, you can use a liner.
What's the difference between, I mean, it looks like it would stick, no?
I think with the cupcake liners, people like to do different colors, so they look pretty and festive. A lot of these pans are non-coated, you know, the non-stick coating, so they probably wouldn't stick. But you always want to have a little bit of insurance on your side, because you don't want to have to deal with any sticking later.
Absolutely. After going through all of this as the alternating, don't overwhelm me anymore.
Don't overwhelm. So I've added my last addition of my liquid.
Can you overmix?
Yes, absolutely. You can always overmix your dough. It'll become tough.
And then it tastes tough, and by tough you mean what?
The inside and crumb, the stuff, the cake inside will be kind of tough.
Like bready more than cakey?
More, yeah. Not a nice
moist?
light, no. So once we have everything in, we always want to give things a good scrape. You can see the flour has come up onto my beater here. So lots of scraping, especially at the bottom. Things like to deposit around there. So we get a good scrape on. And give it one final mix. We got our lemon zest here.
And it's a very creative second helpings that you have.
Very creative.
Using the lemons. Don't throw the lemons away, and just keep them on hand for your second helpings.
Our zested lemons.
Okay.
There, so nice smooth batter. It smells very citrusy.
It does. I love that in baked goods.
And if you did find this wasn't enough citrus for you, you could always add lemon extract to this as opposed to the vanilla, if you like a more citrusy dessert.
We have this lemon oil.
Oh,
that
yeah,
is
that would be
the
good.
strongest.
Yeah.
I added a little, I think it was to some actual food thing. I had to throw it out. Oh, no, it was to an apple pie. And it was, because I needed just a little bit for that extra flavor.
Right, a little bit of
it ruined it.
tartness.
It was so
I believe
strong.
it is really strong, yes. But yeah, you could definitely add it to something like this, and it would be very complimentary.
Jeez. Okay.
So look, we got a nice smooth batter. No streaks of flour.
It's beautiful.
Yep, and then we can just scoop and bake about 2/3 full when you're filling cupcakes.
Now,
you don't want them to be too much.
Can you freeze this? The batter?
The batter, no.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say no. Easier to make it and then pull it out ahead of time, so that way you have it ready to go.
And then can you, is that too much?
Do it
Here. I'm afraid I'm overwhelmed.
See?
And how much will it rise? To the top?
Just kind of a little crown at the top. Nothing, you know, you don't want it to, you know, unless that's what you want, like the big muffin top out of the pan. But,
okay, we've got 30 seconds left. Magic of television?
Magic of television, we have some finished here. What we're going to do is, if you wanted to, you could always glaze these with some of your leftover lemon juice, or you can make lemonade.
If you got lemons right, why not make lemonade? That's going to be our second helpings,
Yes.
and I'm sure you're going to make it very interesting. All right, and that's when we come back. I must say, not only are these delicious, your second helpings is, I think, one of the most creative second helpings that I've heard of. Because you're using some of the stuff that you have.
Yes, we zested our lemons. We took, this is the regular lemon, this is the zested lemon. We used it in our stuff. So I thought if you didn't want to put a glaze on there or use up your lemon juice, you could always make lemonade. I love lemonade, especially for the summer. I think it's delicious. This is actually Paula Dean's recipe, which is delicious. And I think she serves it at all of her restaurants. And I love it. I've always had it. And it's really good and super simple.
Does she put vodka in it?
She might live there. I don't know. She doesn't say in her recipe, but she might
Okay,
after
but take
hours.
a look at this. This is an old-fashioned
This is
juicer, fancy
my
juicer.
Yes,
When I first saw it, I thought it was an ashtray.
I thought it was too, with these little spikes
Yes,
in it. I know,
yes.
I thought so too. But yes, this is my juicer. So the recipe is real simple. It's just basically sugar, water, and the fresh lemon juice. But the thing is, you want to use boiling water with your sugar, so that way it dissolves the sugar faster. And then you want to go ahead and add your lemon juice in cold water to cool it down, so that way you can serve it. And obviously, you could always float raspberries in it or some mint sprigs. You can put a little mint in it, or you can always do slices of lemon.
That is amazing. I have to say this. I was in a hotel in Tampa. They had this water, you know, one of those cool water coolers. They put every fruit on the planet on there with a bunch of ice.
Delicious.
I was like, my husband, come over here, try the water.
Right, try all this delicious
It was delicious.
water. I know. So, yes, you could obviously, you know, jazz it up to however you want.
How much water do you put in and how much lemon
Depending
juice?
on what you, this is a 2-quart pitcher, so it's a cup of sugar, a half cup of the hot water to dissolve it, 1 cup of lemon juice, our fresh lemon juice, and then 8 cups of cold water to cool it back down. So it's just over 2 quarts. So if you had a 2-quart thing, you might want to leave a little gap.
I'm ready. We'll have a lemonade stand.
We will. We'll have to go sell lemonade. Look for us out front.
Yeah, exactly. And give us a tip.
That's right. Big
Chef
tips.
Gretchen, great. Wonderful day, and I love the second helping.
Thanks. I do too. Thank you.